I think my expectations might have been a little high going into this playthrough, but who could blame me? Countless Game of the Year titles, many people saying this is one of the greatest video games ever made, and I myself landed in the middle on this one. I absolutely loved and enjoyed every part of the story here, but I didn't really enjoy playing this game. Welcome to completion number 12 of the Potato Backlog Project, a heavy-duty, much-loved game that was just adapted into a successful TV series. Stick around to the end of the video for the Tater Raider, and let's talk about The Last of Us. As spoiler-free as possible, here we go. The Last of Us is essentially a survival story in post-apocalyptic America. There's a fungal viral outbreak that infects people and makes them kind of crazy, kind of like zombies, but with fungus, I guess. You get a quick glimpse of how things begin as the outbreak hits a small town, and you're introduced to one of the main characters, Joel. The game then does a time jump to 20 years later with a short montage showing how quickly things deteriorate across the world, and you pick things up with Joel in present day. You end up tasked with escorting a 14-year-old survivor named Ellie to another group of survivors for reasons. I just don't want to spoil anything for you. And thus the adventure begins. I played the 2014 remastered PlayStation 4 version of the game, which still visually holds up very well today. The world looks lived in, extremely detailed, beautiful and terrifying all at the same time. The Last of Us might have one of the best intros to a video game that I've ever played. Top 3 for sure. It sets the stage emotionally for the journey you embark on and brings you into the world whether you like it or not. This is a masterclass in storytelling, from the art direction to the voice acting, the writing, the scene direction itself. This is blockbuster movie quality stuff, but in a video game. When people talk about this game, they talk about stuff that happened with the story. They don't talk about the gameplay experiences they had. For a video game to get as much praise and accolades as this game did based off the characters and the narrative and not the gameplay is just a true testament to how well the story is put together here. The actual gameplay itself fell flat in comparison to the story for me. The loop ends up predictable and boring quickly, which is in total contrast with the tension, unpredictability, and fight and flight survival story that you're in the middle of. I quickly found myself feeling like I was just going through the motions so I could find out what happened next in the story. The game goes like this. Story stuff happens via cutscenes. You walk around a little bit and collect some stuff. You move a dumpster, pallet, or wood plank. You have a battle confrontation, and then you repeat. There are no surprises to when the fights are coming up. They're totally telegraphed by pretty obvious waist-high objects set up in the areas to facilitate the duck and cover fighting options. All the fights essentially break down into the same confrontation. You can choose to approach with stealth, duck and cover options, or you can combine them both together. But the way you choose to play has no impact on how your character develops or levels up. You find pills in the world which you spend to level up your character, nothing extremely deep or game-changing, outside maybe the Shiv upgrade. This is unfortunately for me, every fight encounter just felt like one of the same 2 fights versus infected or versus human. There was no motivation here for me other than to resolve the conflict as quickly as possible just to get to the next part of the story. Maybe an experience system of some kind would have fit in nicely here. Something where you level skills based on efficiency of resource usage maybe, or the ways you choose to fight. Like if you took the time to stealth kill everything in the room, you'd get some type of bonus. Some sort of motivation outside just getting through it. The listening mechanic made no sense to me. How does Joel have the ability to sonar sense exact enemy movement through walls like a bat? Isn't this how the clickers see things? It's a video game, so I can chalk that up as a nitpick, but maybe they should have put some limits on this ability. You can just hold it down the entire time and sneak around knowing where everything is. I played on normal, so maybe this is different at a higher difficulty level? I'm not too sure. There were also inconsistencies in how the melee combat worked for me. Sometimes clickers one-shot killed me while I was swinging. Other times the game let me sneak up behind and melee kill them. Maybe it's weapon dependent, maybe it's glitchy, I'm not sure. I just didn't feel confident in the consistency of my options with it. Weapon damage never really made much sense to me either in this game. Sometimes 1 arrow to the gut was enough to kill something. The next time 2 to the heart to the same enemy type didn't even put it down. Enemies with no helmets surviving headshots made me not even want to try for them after a while. Crazy fungus head infected guys take a headshot and don't go down. Sure, I can buy it. The crazy fungus head type guys. But a human being taking a bullet to the head in normal difficulty, they need to die. There's a sequence in the game where you control Ellie for a bit and you're given a rifle and everything you shoot is a one-shot kill, no matter where you hit them. I did like being able to use bottles and bricks to try and manipulate enemies in fights by distracting them or throwing the bricks right at their heads. It was a fun way to change the encounters a little bit to something that suited the way I wanted to fight them more. The enemies reacting to different things in different ways during the fights was good. Like if I missed an arrow, they would react to the sound or which side it went by their head, giving me time to reload and shoot again or go with a different option. I also liked how the game made you choose between crafting a health pack or crafting a Molotov or bomb. With the limited resources you get, I liked this. this, it fit well into the game. There were points I would run out of ammo and health packs and Ellie would just bring me some though. I couldn't figure out if she was looting the room or if this was just the game helping me out. And that also led me to not really worry much about running out of stuff after a while. This might have been difficulty dependent though, I'm not too sure. The workbench leveling system was also a disappointment for me. I would have liked the ability to level things in an order I wanted. Having to find crafting upgrade kits was a totally unnecessary limitation to me, especially since you don't get the last one until you're almost at finish the game. I read there's about 1.5 hours of story cutscenes here, and the game runs at about 12 to 15 hours to complete. For the simple game loop they have here, that's just too long. There just wasn't enough variety to carry the game over that period of time for me. When you add everything together here though, it is a good game. There was multiplayer at launch, there's a new game plus mode, there's tons of collectibles to find. It's very easy to see why people absolutely love this game. 4 happy potato faces out of 5. This game is held up by a very good story, amazing visuals, and an intro that buys the game a ton of grace right off the start. As much as I love the story, this isn't a game I'll likely play again in my lifetime, and from what I read, not much was changed outside the visuals for the PlayStation 5 remake, at least changes that would address the issues that I had with this game. I also played the Left Behind DLC, which was included in the remastered version. It fills in a little bit of backstory nicely, but with essentially the same gameplay. It's worth a look for this story though. Games like this are always interesting to me. People get very attached to them. They defend them when people don't like them, but everybody enjoys different things. Some people enjoyed the gameplay presented here, and some people didn't. But almost everybody can agree that the characters, story, writing, the world presented here are all top-notch and worth a look if you're even slightly interested. And with that, we're on to the next one. I can't wait to play The Last of Us Part 2. Be kind to yourselves and others that deserve it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, friends. Simon Says shoot.